Hey everybody, RPGamer's here at Penny Arcade Expo, PAX 2011, and we're here with lead game designer for EVE Online. So, hi Kristoffer.
Hi, thank you very much for coming by and seeing me here in my office.
Yeah, as the show rages on behind us. So, you're the lead game designer. How long have you been with EVE?
I've been with CCP since 2008. Became the lead game designer this year.
Perfect, okay. So, let's do EVE for Dummies.
Mm-hmm.
So, how do you get into the game?
Yeah.
What sort of gameplay is it? What makes it different?
So it's one of the few real sandboxes out there. We kind of cater to people that like fiddling around, like having a lot of options, and don't necessarily want their handheld. And so we're a sci-fi sandbox basically. We pretty much allow players to do whatever they want. There's a lot of empire building. There's a lot of kicking down those empires. Just a lot of people just having fun.
Okay, politics, guilds.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yeah, so it's a bit different because it's a single shard. We don't really have limits on the guild size, or guild size we call them corporations. So I mean, some of the big corporations and alliances have several thousands of members. I think the biggest one has 5,000 to 6,000. I think.
Okay, and how much does it cost to play a month?
I think our prices are. I haven't paid for it in years. It's probably around $15 or so. But we do have a pretty cool system that when you buy the the game codes to pay for the game, they're not a physical item in real life, they're a physical item in-game. So if you don't want to pay for EVE Online, you can play and through the in-game currency buy them from other players.
Fantastic.
Yeah, so for some people it costs nothing.
Awesome.
Mm-hmm.
And if you want to jump into the game, what's the cost?
I think the startup is $20 or something for buying the account. Yeah.
Okay, so run me through a day at CCP.
All right. So I usually come into work. That's how it starts. Then I go upstairs, get breakfast.
Okay.
Mostly I have something really boring like porridge or fruit because I've been told it's really healthy. So I kind of.
What? You're a game designer and you don't consume copious amounts of caffeine?
Well, I do that.
Oh, okay.
But I kind of start and try to be healthy, which is kind of 5 to 10 minutes of a really like awful and soul-destroying breakfast. I hate anything that's healthy. So I start out kind of bad, and then I get a cup of coffee.
There you go.
And then I go down. I sit with, for those who follow EVE Online, we have a development team called Team Best Friends Forever.
Okay.
And that's the development team that I kind of have on the side, apart from being lead game designer. So I sit with them, go down and have a morning meeting with them, morning meeting with game design. And if it's a good day, I get to look at a lot of designs, do a lot of development work. If it's a bad day, then I'm basically booked in meetings till the evening. So, yeah, I know. Sometimes I get the feeling that no one can really have a meeting without me being there. But, yeah, that's how it works.
Well, I guess if you're the lead game designer, that's pretty much your day.
Yeah, kind of.
Okay, so let's talk about Incarna.
Mm-hmm. So this was our full body expansion. We've had the spaceships for 8 years now, and we've wanted to kind of expand into the stations. And we've been working on it for a while, and it finally came out, the first iteration this summer.
Yeah, I remember our podcast producer Chris, who was making his character, and he was pretty excited about that.
Yeah, I mean, we have without a doubt the coolest character creator there is. It's like really, there's no sliders, no anything, it's just like molding, like really sexy, like with clay, and you can kind of grab and pull and do all kinds of stuff, and it's just visually really, really cool.
So you must have some characters that are pretty out there.
Yeah, we have some pretty strange ones. We have one called Balls. And his character portrait is a ball guy, and he kind of has it down so there's just like one ball. And we have some guys that have succeeded in making some very gender neutral characters where you don't really know exactly what they are.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, I know. It's kind of awesome. We do get a lot of really weird stuff.
Big alien brains.
Yeah, well. No, there's no aliens, sadly, but they do kind of end up really weird. We have to have some constraint. There's, can I swear-ish on this?
Yeah, go
for it. All right, so we have something in game development that we call TTP. So TTP is when you give the players tools to do anything. You have a factor called TTP, which is time to penis, which is when the first person makes a penis. So we can't just give people anything. We kind of give them tools that keep them within like a respectable TTP range.
So what was the TTP for the character creator?
We don't have any other character creator, luckily. We did there were some people who found a way of making their character without a shirt, so they ran around like bare-chested.
Okay.
That was kind of the closest thing we had to it.
Okay.
But not too much bad there.
No illegal skin mods that have popped up?
No, not really, no.
Well, you're better than Final Fantasy 11 already.
Yeah. We have a few guys that came over from APB, All Points Bulletin,
yes.
and they told some pretty grueling stories about the stuff they had to put up with. But no, we got through pretty all right. So we did the character creator, and we did the first round of captain's quarters. It's basically you dock and you kind of go into your little apartment. And this winter we're going to launch the remaining captain's quarters. We only launched one of them. There's supposed to be 4, and the rest of them are going to come out. We're going to put something out called Establishments, which is basically kind of store gameplay. So you have an establishment, you can turn it into a bar, you can have gambling, you can sell drugs and alcohol if you want. What we really want to do is
kind of... You get a kickback for providing these services.
Of course. No one does that for free.
No, of course not. It's
so,
Eve.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like dark and dystopian universe enough that we've kind of settled for drugs and gambling. It's going to be like the majority of the stuff. And we also kind of see it as an opportunity to expand on the sandbox. So we have a lot of NPC run services and stations. And I think like the long-term goal for establishments is going to be taking these things and putting them into establishments. So when you have the NPC repair button, you kind of want to remove that and give players options to have repair buttons within their stations and have different price and quality and all that stuff, and kind of have some kind of feeling that when you dock into a station, everything you do there
is a true competitive market.
Basically. Yeah. We one of the things that I really always try and stress in terms of I want to take as much as possible away from NPCs because my father used to love westerns, so I grew up watching quite a few of those westerns, and a lot of them, when you see the cowboy walking down the street, you'd have this whole city, and you walk down and there'd be buildings on either side, but they were never real buildings. They were just these big wooden panels that were painted, and you had like these all these bars holding them up, and it would just be these fake cities made in Hollywood. And I never want that for you online. So all the artificial stuff, all the stuff that's behind, like over the hill, I kind of want to do. And so taking away from NPCs and then putting everything manually back into players' hands is what I want to do with it.
Okay.
So.
And you definitely haven't stopped there. You have Dust coming out soon as well.
We have Dust. It's luckily a game that I'm viciously good at. Just it's important.
So we've heard.
We had a chance to play it last week. Mm-hmm. They've been doing a big internal tournament where all the different offices have got to.
And who won?
Well, my team, of course, won. There's really no contest about that. It's just pure skill as it is. But yeah, it's really cool. It's connecting the Eve client to a PlayStation, which will hopefully work out. It's a little bit of a crazy project, but so far so good, and we kind of hope we can just provide a completely different game experience as well.
Okay. Do you have a release date for Dust yet?
We're aiming for beta the end of this year, winter, and then we can hopefully release next summer.
Okay. Now, if people aren't interested in the MMORPG commercial aspect, can they still jump into the first-person shooter?
Yeah. So they're separate but linked. So you can play Eve without participating in Dust, and you can play Dust if you just want to have an FPS, just log on and play some matches, you can do that.
Right.
But the end game of Dust is definitely going to be that you can join. So we're not going to have Eve corporations and Dust corporations, we're just going to have corporations.
Right.
So you can fill them with Eve players or Dust players.
Or a combination of both.
Or a combination of both, and then just simply work together towards the goal. So for some people, they'll just log on casually, play Dust, do some matches, all that stuff. But for some people, they'll basically be the army part of EVE Online's corporations. So when you want to take other people's space, you need your ground forces, and when someone else attacks you, you'll need you guys to defend. So we hope we see a lot of Dust players kind of jump onto the really harsh competitive nature of EVE Online. And of course, in return, they'll get money and guns.
Right.
So you can make guns in EVE Online, you can send them money that they'll then spend.
So it's almost to the corporation's advantage to hire players that are good at Dust.
The big alliances that hold space and want to maintain their space, I'd see it as extremely unlikely that they'll be able to do that without that. I mean, they should become an as integral part of running an alliance as your fleet is. So hopefully that, and we've kind of carried over a lot of the really cool elements of EVE Online in it. So the notion of loss, if you die in the FPS, you lose your gear.
Ooh.
Yeah, just like in EVE Online, if you lose your ship, you lose your modules. So if you think about it like the old Counter-Strike where you'd shop before every match, but instead of buying one, you'll be buying like bulk. So you go out and you buy 400 assault rifles and you'll be fine for a few days, and then you'll need to stock up again, which is just kind of a very different way of doing it. But
Yeah.
I think we have a very cool setup. Once you get into it, it feels pretty natural.
Yeah. I think it's going to be interesting seeing if you want to be a full-time Dust player, how many people are going to go out and shop for a corporation that can basically support them.
Yeah, definitely. And we've taken other like kind of cool UI elements that people like EVE Online's fitting screen. So you have your ship that has high slots, mid slots, and low slots that you just put different modules into it and kind of create the roles around that. You're going to be able to do that as well with your Dust character.
Okay.
So your soldier, instead of having a certain class like a medic or something, you kind of tailor it through the implants and the armor pieces and all the other stuff you put on it. And
Can you give me examples of those?
Yeah, so I mean, there's the different types of armor, for example. EVE Online, we have shields and armor. You'll be able to do that as well. So you can pick between shield tanking or armor tanking your guy. You can have a guy that relies on speed. Like, you can kind of just customize it in all kinds of different fun ways. So I mean, we saw when we had the tournament, and everyone started kind of theory crafting about the best characters, and I mean, we had some really swift characters with rocket launchers that would just zoom around and shoot things, and we had some heavier tanks that would run around with assault rifles, and just all kinds of different fun setups. And I think people are really going to enjoy that, because that's one of the things I really like about EVE.
Okay, so EVE is completely, not, I wouldn't say completely ruleless, but you guys definitely let the economy go where it may. So let's talk about a couple of some interesting economical shenanigans that you guys have had lately. So I guess about 2 weeks ago, there was a big Ponzi scheme.
Yeah, I think it was Phaser Inc. that ran away with, I think the numbers I've been using today was a bit over 1 billion, but they claimed it's like 1.8 or something.
Oh, wow.
And I actually, at PAX, I've been giving a presentation at 1 o'clock these past few days on how to scam an EVE Online. And it's basically been because, you know, at EVE events, I go out and I talk to all these people that are basically EVE experts, and they know everything about EVE, and there's really very little I can teach them. But these events, no one really plays EVE.
Right.
Like, it's 80,000 people, and they all have different interests. I'm here for the tabletops, and we're here for other MMOs that, of course, aren't as good as EVE Online. And I figured that instead of the usual marketing spiel, I just figured that I'd talk about something I was really good at. And people talk about how difficult it is to get into EVE Online, but social engineering and scamming is like one of the easiest things you can ever do. So I've been given like a 30-minute presentation on how you can just make millions off people with just a trial account by basically suckering it out of them. So
and you guys, if someone comes onto the forum and complain, someone scammed me out of my credits, your response is that's life?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. So like the Ponzi scheme, like you mentioned, we've had a few. We've had eBank was one of them. The latest one was Phaser Inc. There's quite a few of them, and it just it kind of boggles the mind that people haven't actually figured out that anything.
This is completely a scam.
Yeah, basically anyone that calls himself a bank in EVE Online is basically lying, and that's like a good rule of thumb. If any player asks you to just give them money for basically nothing, they're probably lying. But we see these, and I mean the heists just grow and grow. I mean Phaser Inc. was, it might be 1.8 trillion, which is a pretty significant amount of money. That'll probably put you through college at least. And
wow.
Yeah, it's pretty but it's not just that. It's just the small time stuff as well. Mm-hmm. One of the most popular scams, and one thing that you can basically do. If anyone is sitting at home thinking about trying EVE Online and they just want to go rip people off, because there's about 400,000 people and some of them are really dumb. One of the things you can do is you get into JITA, which is like the center of the universe, which is like in the middle of everything. It's where everyone trades. It has 1,000, maybe 1,500 players on all the time.
Okay.
There's like a shared local chat, and one of the usual scams is send me 1 million and I'll send 5 back, or 2 back or something.
Right.
And it's got kind of like a miniature Ponzi scheme. So
right.
The first 10 people that send you $1 million will get 2 million back.
Right.
Then they'll be in local. Well, this guy's legit. He sent me the money back, and everyone's like, all right, this might work. And then you just have like a flood of people send you money, and you just take everything. And that's kind of like a 5-minute Ponzi scheme that's really popular that anyone can do. And it's much more fun than mining.
Yeah, taking advantage of people who aren't paying attention is usually faster than mining too.
I know this, and we don't really do anything about that. Like, people are free to do whatever they want.
Right. So the back of your shirt says, "Ask me about my monocle."
Yeah, yeah. So we launched a virtual goods store, in-game store, where we had monocles, and there was a bit of an uproar about the pricing and all that stuff. So we figured that we'd give people some free monocles.
Okay.
They're not. They don't make you better as such. They don't make you train faster or anything.
Okay.
But they basically make you a much better person if you wear it. So you may not win, but you're still better than the people you're playing against.
Now, here's the important part.
Incredibly classic.
Is there a way to wear both a monocle and a top hat at E?
No, we don't have top hats yet, but that definitely sounds like something. We also need monocle for the other eye, so you can have two monocles.
Yes.
Dual monocle.
Dual monocle.
Twice as classy as everyone else.
Yes. 2 monocles and a top hat? Maybe 2 monocles and a top hat with a top hat.
Future. That's the future.
Yeah. Getting ideas. Anyways, thank you so much for taking some time to interview here, and have a good PAX.
Thank you, you too.